Good morning and welcome to Costume Confidential. This is your backstage peek at the costumes of the Pickering Museum Village. I'm Julie Oakes, I'm the costumer at the museum and I love my job. So today we're going to talk about Sontags and shawls. What's a Sonntag, you say to yourself? Well, it's almost a type of a mix between a shawl and a sweater. Now, if you've been watching Outlander, that wonderful series with Jamie Fraser, that wonderful Scotsman, you'll notice that Claire wears a lot of this type of thing. This was very typical from the mid to late 1700s, right up until maybe about 1830, 1840. Then this style got very old-fashioned. So all it is a simple crisscross across the top of the woman here. And you can see at the back, it sits really nicely, keeps everything nice and warm, but keeps your arms free to be able to do whatever you want to do. So that's the earlier version, and it's just knit in a simple garter stitch, as you can see. We have a link on our website, by the way, for a pattern for you to make this if you'd like to make one. Now, this is the later form of Sonntag, and this one, there was a pattern for this in the ladies' magazine called Godey's Magazine about the 1850s, and this was extremely popular. So in this case, you take the two strings, tie them around your waist like so, and then the top half crisscrosses across the back, and you can do it with a button or you can do it with just a little bow at the back. And again, you can see it's really, really comfortable. It fits nicely. It gives another look to your outfit. Actually, one of our education staff asked for one of these to be knit for her, and she wears it in everyday life nowadays, which is not surprising. Well, where did the name Sonntag come from? It's a kind of an odd name for a garment. It was actually named after Henrietta Sonntag, who was the first soprano soloist to sing in Beethoven's Ninth Symphony in 1824. She was an amazing opera singer, but romantically, she gave it all up in 1829 to marry her husband, and completely went out of public life until 19 years later, when things were getting tense in Europe and his diplomatic career was falling apart, so there was no reason for her to stay out of the limelight anymore. So she came back and enjoyed a concert career again. And because her name was Henrietta Sonntag, and because she loved to wear this garment, because it kept her neck and throat and chest cozy and warm, which a singer needs, that's why the garment is now called a Sonntag. It's also known as a hug-me-tight and a bosom buddy for obvious reasons. Now, going into the shawls. Now, this is the type of shawl you're probably familiar with seeing in a lot of places. It's just basically a square of fabric that you fold into a triangle, and you get these lovely folds. There was quite a thing in the 19th century about getting graceful folds down your arm. I'm not even going to try and attempt that because not being that graceful a person, but it was quite a thing in the 19th century to make sure that your shawl folds were graceful. Another type of shawl that was extremely popular was what was known as the Cashmere shawl. These shawls were made in India. This is actually a vintage, a beautiful antique shawl, and you'll notice that the paisley pattern is very, very important in this particular pattern. It's woven out of wool, and it was extremely desired. In fact, this was a typical thing that people would be given as a wedding gift, would be a cashmere shawl. And then the weavers in Paisley, Scotland started to produce shawls very much like this. And in fact, Queen Victoria in 1840 bought 17 shawls from the weavers in Paisley because she wanted to make sure that their industry would be successful and that people would buy their products. So they would be making shawls very much like this one also. This was quite typical of the time where you would have the beautiful woven pattern at the edge and just black wool on the surface of the shawl, which is another look altogether. And then you could also get this kind of beautiful look on a more summery looking one. This is also 100% wool. It is an antique, and you can see again the beautiful paisley pattern on it. Now these shawls were popular from about, I would say, the early 1800s right through the 19th century because they were so valuable, and people would pass them down actually in families because they were so beautiful. Sometimes they were used for other things as well. But these shawls were considered beautiful. And if you want to see a fantastic collection of cashmere shawls, the Textile Museum of Canada has the most incredible collection of them. Now, for my final little shawl to show you today, This is a really pretty little Victorian shawl, late Victorian, so let's say 1890s, 1880s, 1890s. And this shawl is made, it's a little double shawl with ruffles, and it's just made to sit beautifully on your shoulders. You can still move around, do whatever you need to do. But being cream and being very fluffy, I certainly wouldn't be doing any cooking in this one. Thanks very much, and stay tuned for our next episode.